What is up, you guys? This is Mini Superheroes Today.
Hey guys, today we're winding it back to 2016. Man, time's flying by. This is the Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, the only set to be released in conjunction with the first Doctor Strange film. This set was $30 when it retailed, but goes for about $55 to $65 on today's market. All three minifigures that came in this are exclusive, although similar Doctor Stranges have come out, but probably the main most interesting figure is the Ancient One, who we'll take a look at here in just a minute. This set had 358 pieces, and I have really good memories with this set of getting it back when I was in college and building it, and just thinking how strange of a set it is, no pun intended. But let me show you why I think that as we review. So the first minifigure to look at is Doctor Strange. Now, I think that this is like 90% of a good figure. The hairpiece is a little bit too cartoonish for me, but it does work really well for the comic book or cartoon version of Strange. I just think that, Lego Marvel, more specifically the MCU sets, got better with Doctor Strange from Infinity War onward. The one thing that this figure does have that's super cool are these little jumper plates here that actually have like the spell printing on them. Man, those are cool. So I like those a lot. And if we move those aside, you can see that it uses the same torso that we got in the Infinity War Sanctum set, which is just one of the best Lego Marvel sets ever. If we lift it up, you can see that there is some printing on the back of the torso as well. And the head is reversible, so we can lift that hair up, and he's got the angry face, the same one from the Sanctum set that would come out in 2018. And if we lift the head up, you can see that the cape is actually one piece, which is interesting. Now they do, like, the bottom part of the cape and the, like, cloak, I guess, or the collar as a separate piece. But on this figure, it was all one piece, and it looked pretty darn good. Up next is Carl Mordo. Now, he actually had a black staff in the set, but I could only find a brown one in my spare parts, so it's just kind of there for the visual. But he had a great torso and leg print. I love the way that they kind of travel onto each other with like the sash hanging down and everything. It looks awesome. The other thing that was great about this figure is the head. One side is an angry side and the other side is a little bit more calm and collected. But back in the day, this was an awesome head to use for customs for characters like T'Challa and whatnot. So this was a super, super valuable figure to me and my channel, years and years ago. And I still think the figure holds up pretty well today. And finally, we have the Ancient One, who is the most valuable figure from this set. The crazy thing about the Ancient One is, as big of a player as she is in the MCU's Doctor Strange storyline, I'm shocked we didn't get a new updated version of this figure in the big Sanctum Sanctorum in 2022. Because we didn't get that figure in that set, I really doubt that LEGO's ever going to make an MCU Ancient One again, just as the stories move on and we get more movies. Other characters are going to be more important to make, so it's kind of crazy that such a main player character is literally exclusive to this one set. And finally, that brings us to the set itself. I'll give you a quick 360 so you can see that it's basically just like a big long wall with some curves on either end. So there's not too much to say about the build of it, but I will say that this kind of reminds me of other sets that came out around that time, like the Big Bang Theory living room and things like that. This was a really, really good set to display on a shelf. Whereas most LEGO sets now in the LEGO Marvel line are creatures, vehicles, mechs, or really big modular buildings, I really kind of like having something that's location-based, that's a little bit smaller and easier to display. So I do think that this set earns a lot of points for that alone, especially for a $30 set. We got like the top hat, that pink gem, these little book builds. So you got a lot of really interesting pieces here. Now, as far as the set itself goes, we'll move the camera closer to take a look at the details. On the left side, we have some letters on the floor, as well as a letter addressed to Doctor Strange right there with some postage in the top corner. We've got a little lantern with a chain, some gold keys, and a red gemstone inside of that little chest there. And that's pretty much it for the floor over here. When I got this set back in the day, I did not actually realize this play feature. So you can lift that piece off and then put Doctor Strange's cloak onto that red peg right there. Easier said than done, I suppose. But once you do that, then you can put this piece back on. And then you've got this little mechanism here, which will have the cape float in place. I think that's pretty cool. The center table has some interesting things on it, like these cool candles. You get 2 identical candles there. And then we have 2 printed pieces, a letter from Stark Industries, wonder what that could be about, and a letter that says Shambhala, which is what the Wi-Fi password is in Doctor Strange in that little throwaway line. I thought that was pretty clever. In the back, we have this brick-built window representing the big Sanctum window. Now, in later sets, like the Infinity War set, as well as the 2022 modular, this window would actually be a printed piece, but for a brick-built version, I think this works pretty well. And finally, that brings us to the monster on the wall, but let's look at the Easter eggs first. Years ago, I did a video about Marvel set Easter eggs, and a watcher of the channel reached out and actually translated this, and it says, Dormammu is coming, and I can't remember the name of that language. You'll have to go back and watch that video, but I think that's cool that that's a literal Easter egg. Back here, we have the Codex Imperium, which is a book from Marvel Comics, you know, Doctor Strange lore, and we also have the Book of the Invisible Sun, as well as some printed tile pieces there that have maps on them. And finally, we have this tentacle monster coming out of the wall, and it actually operates on this gear system. So as you twist this wheel, the tentacles move around, and I think that that's pretty fun. The other cool play feature that's built in are these little hovering pieces. So, you know, we've got these... Let me move this tentacle monster guy out of the way. We've got these clear pieces here, and then when we flip it around, you can see there are tabs that will move the figures. So you can kind of have it like they're fighting with magic. And I think that that is a pretty cool play feature. And of course, you could just remove these out of the wall if you didn't want these there for display purposes or whatever. But with that being said, that's a full review of the set. So let's zoom out and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, guys, let me know what you think of this set in the comments down below. Did you have this one back in the day? Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Well, you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and maybe check out one of my other videos listed here.